Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a new installment of Reel Rant. Now, normally on Reel Rant, I take a subject and I kind of go a little overboard responding to it. I kind of get a little more mad than normal. And, I've done this before, but for this Reel Rant, I want to do something a little different. I want to talk about some stuff that's been kind of swirling around in my head about this whole YouTube change thing. I just want to throw out some ideas and some thoughts. This is not me taking a side or anything like that. I mean, at first, I can admit that I was really angry about the whole thing. I've had some time to think about it, and like I said, I haven't really. I'm not going to say I'm choosing a side here. Because there's things I don't like and there's things I understand about what YouTube and essentially Google has done. And we're going to talk about that on this edition of Reel Rant. And I'm also curious to know what you guys think about it. And you can leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm really curious to hear what everyone thinks, big channels, small channels. Before I begin, though, I want to thank everybody that has stuck with me since the beginning. I want to thank everybody that watched me on Brad's channel the other day and subscribed to the channel. It makes me feel a little bit better about the YouTube community. I think everyone should get a fair shake at YouTube, and we're going to talk about that. But I couldn't go on without saying that no matter what happens, I thank you for helping me. I got the subscribers over 1,000. I'm not sure about the total views thing. I think I'm way off, and everyone I think has till February 20th to get it there. I think you need like 4,000 hours, and I'm over 1,000 or something. I can't remember what it said. I figured it out the other day. At least I think I did. And either way, though, I'm not going anywhere. I plan on, no matter what, doing what I'm doing, because it's fun for me. So I just want to thank everybody, though, because from the bottom of my heart, seeing the response that I got from when I talked about it on Brad's video, it just made me feel really good. And we're going to talk about that too. And if I repeat myself, I apologize. I'm kind of going out of order of my my notes here. So yeah, let's talk about the YouTube changes. For those that don't know about it, which I'm sure by now everybody knows what's going on, but we'll give a quick summary of it anyway. For channels that are under 1,000 subs and have 4,000 hours of yearly views or less. If you're under 1,000 and then under 4,000 hours of yearly views, you've been given roughly 1 month to hit the goal or lose the ability to monetize. And the date they've given, at least me, which I think this is the set date, is February 20th, 2018. Now, you can earn this back if you do hit the milestone after this date. And also, from what I'm finding, the smaller channels will be paid what they've earned, even if they haven't earned over the $100. Now, before you start getting paid. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. We'll find out if I make it or not, and then if I get a check. It probably wouldn't be a very big check, but we'll find out that coming soon. YouTube has said, and I quote, this is quote from their whole release thing about their changes. It says, one of YouTube's core values is to provide anyone the opportunity to earn money from a thriving channel. Remember that word thriving because it kind of plays into the argument. So that's a general gist of what's going on with YouTube right now and smaller channels. There's some things that I don't like about this, and that's been from the start. And though I've, I kind of gotten an understanding of some of it. It doesn't mean I have to like it. What don't I like about it? The first thing, and this is my opinion, YouTube is doing this for greed and lazy reasons. I think they're treating smaller channels unfairly by weeding them out first. I see that as being, it's easier for them to just say, well, we need to focus on these bigger channels that are actually making us money. So let's just push the little channel out of the way first. They may not be doing it to be mean or unfair, because and we'll talk about in a minute why I think they're doing it, at least my understanding of it, but they may not be doing that on purpose, but it comes off that way, unfortunately. Because they're talking about, there's smaller channels that are being problemsome, and they're making money off of it. Like there's people putting out stuff that nobody wants on YouTube, like just horrible things, horrible videos. And I know they have the problem with YouTube Kids. I really have to watch my kids close. They got little tablets that Samsung made, or at least Google made, because it runs on the Google platform that a Samsung phone does, and they can do YouTube Kids on it. And it's supposed to watch them closely with their apps and everything like that, and the parent has control and everything. But when YouTube Kids had the problem, and there's a YouTube Kids app on there, I've really had to watch it close. So far, I haven't had any problems. My sons have looked up things, and it hasn't been weird things. But I remember back a while ago, before they started clamping down, my kids would look up Pokemon. There'd be some weird thing with Ash killing Pikachu or something weird like that, So you got to be really careful with YouTube. But here's the thing, though. It's not just smaller channels. This is where the whole laziness things comes in, because and greed, because look, bigger channels are just as problemsome as some of the smaller channels. There's smaller channels that do things they shouldn't be doing, but there's also big channels that are too. I mean, just look to the Pewds or Logan Paul or Keemstar, for example. I mean, somehow, despite their actions and words, they still seem to be thriving on the site. I mean, sure, some of them have lost like their quote-unquote YouTube deals, but they're still allowed to continue on the site and monetize. And sure, some of them deserve a second chance. I mean, in a way, I kind of understand PewDiePie's argument. I mean, he did the stupid Fiverr thing, didn't think they'd do it. Kind of think he knew they would, but... And then I don't watch PewDiePie. I used to watch some of his game playthroughs, but even that got old. So I haven't watched PewDiePie in a long time, but I know they had the whole thing with, was he wearing a Nazi outfit or something, or showing Nazi imagery? I don't know the context of that. I don't know if he's just trying to be funny. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. And then the whole thing with, Logan Paul, I mean, what is he, 22, 23, young 20s? He doesn't know crap about crap. And, when you're that young, you probably think you're invincible, especially when you're making millions of dollars. So he did something stupid. So maybe he learned a lesson. Keemstar's a whole nother story. Heaven forbid I talk bad about him, right? He'll make me famous, right? And I'm not even going to get into that. YouTube drama drives me nuts. And, I'm not about that. I think of YouTube as a community, and we should all be, good to each other and work together and have fun. But, like in anything, there's good and bad. But that's just it, though. Since they made YouTube money, no matter if they deserve a second chance or not, since they've made YouTube money, they're allowed to continue. All right? Because, I mean, think about it. YouTube can spout we're a community all they want. but it's all about making money first. You know, Google didn't get into, you know, business to make friends. They got in it to make money. They didn't get into it to, you know, play nice with people. They got into it to make money. All in all, at the end of the day, it's a business. I think YouTube needs to be just as strict with the bigger channels as they are being with the smaller ones. It all needs to be fair. That's a big issue I have with this whole thing, the way they're doing it. Because I'm also curious about this, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer already. Will ads still appear on the smaller channels' videos? I'm willing to bet it's yes. It's just that those channels ain't going to see a dime of it. They're going to make money off of you. They have an argument there because, well, they're allowing you to put your video on there. They should be able to put an ad on there. I mean, before I even thought about monetizing, I mean, for years, I didn't do monetization. I didn't understand it. I was doing movie reviews for the TV station I work at, and I wasn't worried about making money or anything. I was just having a good time. So anything I put on YouTube, I mean, I used a lot of the videos from trailers and stuff, so I couldn't monetize anyway, but I'd still see ads. You know what I mean? I wasn't even involved in the AdSense thing. So, but there'd still be ads on my videos. So I'm willing to bet it goes back to the same thing. One of the biggest problem I'm having with this thing though right now is why are so many of the bigger channels, and this isn't everybody, there's lots of cool channels out there that have tried to help the smaller channel by, you know, allowing you to post your link on their site and stuff like that. I'm not saying this is everybody, but there are bigger channels out there that, you know, they're so happy that the smaller channels aren't going to be able to make money anymore, so YouTube can focus more on them. From a business sense, I understand that, but I mean, why would you be like that? You know, why wouldn't you? I mean, think about it. You were small once, you know, and yeah, you've quote unquote made it now. And I know you guys went through the adpocalypse thing. I get it. You know, I mean, but here's the thing. You put your trust in a site that barely talks to you, that will not get back to you, will ignore you, and you just expected the cash flow to come in. And for a while it did, and then when there was an issue, you know, you wondered what the heck was going on. It's hard to put a trust in that. That's why I could never see myself just being a quote-unquote YouTube celebrity, whether or not my channel is successful or not, because I don't think I could trust Google and YouTube enough to be sustainable, you know, to them never to tell me, you know, anything that's going on. It's just, well, we'll send you whatever money we think we should send you. I could never trust that. But here's the thing. I understand them wanting YouTube to focus more on them because they have viewers, right? Less competition, less focus on so many people. They can focus on those that have more subscribers. I get that. That being said, how would you feel if the shoe was on the other foot? How would you feel if you were the small channel and were struggling to make it? Say you had a dream to be on YouTube. I mean, this is just a hobby for me, but I'd like the opportunity to make some money to help pay for that hobby, you know, pay for the travel, you know, the gas, the movie tickets, whatever, you know. I'm not in this to make a ton of money. I mean, I better not be, because I've never made a dime off of YouTube yet. I haven't seen a check yet because I haven't hit the threshold. But for those that want, you know, they dream of this, you know, yes, there is the opportunity for them to get there, but this is a huge setback for them, because even if they do get there, they're not guaranteed to get back on AdSense. You know, I mean, it's just such a slippery slope. So yeah, I mean, there is a positive to this. You know, yes, it does keep the smaller channels from making money, but they at least get the opportunity to come back if they are able to build up. Another opinion I have is that of why YouTube did this is YouTube just found it easier to cut out a ton of channels that didn't really affect their bottom line, instead of trying to go through all the channels and figure out which ones should be allowed to stay. When certain channels reach the new threshold, they can, go through them more thoroughly, something they probably should have been doing in the first place. I just feel like YouTube got a little too big for their britches, as my mom used to say when I was growing up. But all this happened, they got too big, and then now they're saying, well, instead of trying to go through all these guys, we're going to cut all these out. We'll focus on the bigger ones, and as the smaller ones make it, then we can vet them. We can go through them again. I understand their point there. I just think it was a kind of a crappy way of doing it. I'm not a fan of what they've done, but I understand. They needed to stop the bleeding, so to speak. They let it get out of hand, and now they're just trying to make it the way they should have been doing for years. As a smaller channel, I reached out to my friends that have bigger channels, which I'm sure a lot of smaller channels did. Heck, even the bigger channels were reaching out to the even bigger channels when YouTube was, screwing them out of money whenever, I know Reckless Eating left their network or whatever and tried to do regular AdSense, and it took a long time for them to get it back, and they reached out to, bigger food channels like Furious Pete and guys like that to get it back. So I reached out. I work with Brad, the Cinema Snob Jones, a lot, at least when I can. We live a few towns over, which is awesome. I also put a thing out there to Dr. Movie 91, who has a Facebook page where people can kind of gather and talk about their movie collections and reviews and stuff like that. And both of them have helped me out a ton. I mean, Brad let me mention this whole thing on our video we did together the other day. Dr. Movie put out a thing saying, if you have a channel, put it here on the Facebook page, and people can sub to it. And I subbed to everyone that posted there, because I'm at a point where if a smaller channel asks me to help, I'm going to help. I would have done it anyway. But see, they've given me the opportunity to hit the threshold. As I mentioned earlier, I hit the 1,000 subscribers, and I don't know if I'm going to hit the views by Feb 20th. I hope so. I hope I do. But if I don't, I'll just keep plugging away, because if I lose it, at least I've got the subscribers. I can work my way back to the views. I'm not giving up. So yeah, I'm not stopping. I part of me wanted to, I have to admit. I mean, anytime I hit any setback like this, I always feel, that whole thing where they say, one step forward, two steps back. My life as a critic has felt that way. I mean, for every cool thing I've gotten to do as a critic, I feel like someone is going to push me back, because, I did my TV segment from 2011 to, I did it for like 5-6 years, right? And then all of a sudden it was, you're off. So it's like, well, where do I go from here? Do I stop? It just felt like there's always something. Then personal life stuff would come in. I mean, there's always something, and we're all human. We all deal with things, But I love what I do too much to quit. I've worked too hard to quit. This is too much of my life to quit. That being said, if I do make it, or I get close or whatever, I still feel bad for other smaller channels, because I've been there. There's people out there that are like me, that it's just kind of a hobby. And then there's, like my buddy Bill Heisenerd Fields, he's just really started to put some focus into his channel, and he's done some Let's Plays and stuff before, but he just kind of, messed around with it for a little bit. But now he just kind of wanted to grow a little bit, and it's a hobby to him, and it's fine, and he's fine with that. But, there's still that pride of wanting to grow a little bit. I still feel bad for the smaller channels that, have that dream, though. We've grown up, or they've grown up. I mean, I'm a little old to say I've grown up with this. I mean, yes, I've been around while it's become a thing. Like being a YouTube celebrity has become a thing, but it came a little later in my life. I know I look like a young man. But no, look, there's a lot of young people that see these younger people doing things on YouTube, and just like, when I'd watch movies growing up, I'd have dreams of making movies or being in movies or whatever, or whatever. It's any hobby you enjoy, you have those dreams, right? People that watch wrestling want to become wrestlers, kind of thing. So I feel bad for those that have this dream and all of a sudden YouTube made it harder, And here's the thing, though. With me, even though the channel is a hobby, I've put a ton of work into it. I work hard on this. I put more free time into this than I probably should. Because I work my full-time job, and then I come home, and, if I'm not doing stuff with my boys, I'm working on this, usually, whether it's I'm at a movie, or editing a review, or writing a review, or I don't sleep much, but I put a lot of work into it. I have my pride. So in a way, I kind of felt insulted that YouTube kind of said that my channel and other channels like it just wasn't worth their time. They're just going to be like, sorry, that I felt a little insulted, because I felt like, I always seen YouTube as like, I don't want to call it a family. We'll use their word. I'll call it a community. I've always felt like YouTube was a community. Like we all belonged, You belong to was, kind of how I thought of it. But what happened to that? It in a way, it doesn't feel like a community, at least a whole community. I feel like that it feels more like a business because people are making money on it. And they've made it business. And I'm fine with that. I really am. But I just feel like there's hierarchies now. And I thought a lot of people, at least me, I do things, I do this YouTube thing to just like a reason I like to go to movies and review movies and everything. You kind of get to escape reality for a little while. And it just, you get to be with like-minded people. And that's just how I've seen it. And it doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like, well, we're bigger and better than you, at least some bigger channels, and you don't matter. Then there's bigger channels, like I said, that do look out for the little guy, and I appreciate them. That being said, I'm not really mad at the bigger channels. I get it. You've made it your living. You've worked hard. Hey, more power to you. But I don't know. I just think some of the bigger channels have kind of forgotten where they've come from. So yeah, this thing is important to me. And I know there's other people that feel the same way. I don't see it as a competition. While we don't make the money or any money, for me, for that matter, that the bigger channels do, I still feel like the smaller channels are just as important as the bigger ones. Because, right now there's this whole thing about equality. I mean, equality is a big thing, right now. It's a big theme right now. But for YouTube, it just feels that it's not there. And I always thought it should be. That's just the way I've always tried to see YouTube, is it's just a place that we can gather to just be ourselves and have fun, but it's become something a little different, which is kind of unfortunate. The good stuff's still there if you know where to find it, but it's hard to see YouTube as this community anymore as a whole, given what's happened. Because YouTube is just so much better when everyone's being cool and working together, Here's one thing I'm really happy about, though. I'm happy that YouTube just didn't decide to cut the channels out completely. They could have just said, sorry, you're taking up too much bandwidth. Sorry, you're taking up too much space. Sorry, you ain't making us a dime. So, bye, and just destroy your channel. I don't think they would, because of the backlash they get. And we'll talk about that backlash here just in a second. But I don't think they would because of the backlash, but they could. I mean, it's their site. They can do whatever they want. I mean, you're not paying them to put your video up there. You just hit upload, fill out some information, and boom. Right? So, I mean, it's their site. They can do whatever they want, right? Here's the thing, though. YouTube, I think, needs some real competition. I mean, I know there's sites out there like Dailymotion, Vimeo, and others, but, I mean, really, YouTube has become one of those names. We don't call them tissues, we call them Kleenex, that kind of thing. When you think of uploading videos and watching them online, can I go to YouTube? You could be talking about another site, but you say, can I go to YouTube? So I think they need some competition. Will they ever get it? Now, if they destroyed a channel, like if they just said all you smaller channels are off the site, you better believe that a competitor would give them some real competition. I'm not saying I want to see that happen. I'd like to see a competitor rise up, and I know some have tried and failed. I mean, Google's a big company, and they ain't bought up YouTube and ain't going anywhere. But it'd be cool to see some real competition. And for you wrestling fans out there, it'd be cool to see some Monday Night War stuff. You know what I mean? You get to see some real competition that really made changes, that really made things competitive, really made things matter, so it just wasn't owned by one group. Because right now, we as creators, especially as smaller ones, are in YouTube's mercy. They can do whatever they want with us. Like I said, thankfully, they're not just kicking us off the site. They're giving everyone an opportunity. They're just trying to fix things. I get it. I do. I'm not as mad as I used to be. I'm still not happy about how they did it. It was kind of a bad way to handle it. But I get what they're doing. I really do. It's just a crappy way to do it, YouTube. So we, as smaller creators, we have to stick together. We need to work together, do projects together, have fun together. If we want YouTube to notice, we have to make them notice. We don't lie down and take it. We do whatever we can to push through, to make them see that we do matter. I'm in no means a big channel, even though I've hit the 1,000 threshold. And again, I have to thank Brad Jones, I have to thank Dr. Movie, and everybody on those sites and pages and channels that have supported me by subscribing to the channel, watching my stuff. It means everything to me. I mean, it felt really good to watch those subscribers go over 1,000. It's been a long time that I've wanted to see it, and seeing it happen was great. But that being said, I know, even though I firmly believe in my abilities, I know I had help. You know, I know I had friends in bigger channel places. I wanted to say in higher places, but, you know, Brad's just a down-to-earth dude, and, you know, the times I've had online conversations with Dr. Movie, he's been just a cool dude. I like cool people, you know. But I'm going to help any way I can. If you're a smaller channel, and I know other channels have done this, but I'm encouraging anyone that's watched this, you know, do this or help with this. If you're a smaller channel, leave a link to your channel in the comments below. It may help, it may not, but at least I can try. It's the least I can do to pay it forward to those channels and subscribers that have helped me at least have a chance to get to this threshold. I'm a little worried about the views, but that being said, if I don't make it, I don't make it. I'm just happy I'm in the game. It gave me a sense of purpose. You know, if you want to help me, watch as many as my stuff as you can. That's the problem I hit. I have a lot of smaller videos or shorter videos. You know, I mean, yeah, this is going a little long, but anytime I do a review, I think the average review is probably 4 minutes, unless I have a lot to say. So, I mean, it takes a lot of views of a lot of my videos. You know, so if you want to help me get to the views, watch a lot of my videos. Earlier in my career as a critic, I did some cool interviews. Look those up. There's a playlist for it. I'm especially fond of my interview of Roddy Piper. I'm very fond of my interview with Doug Jones, who those of you that have been on this site for a while know how much I love Doug Jones. My Jake the Snake Roberts interview is great. Got a lot of exposure with the first Jason David Frank interview I did. Too bad the whole total views for your career doesn't count, because, I mean, just from the views of that alone, there was a ton, because he shared it, which was very cool. My interviews with Keith David, Chris Sarandon. I've done some cool interviews, and so those are cool to check out. Some of the older reviews. You can see how I don't think I'm great now, but I went back and watched some of my older stuff, and I just like, man, I had to have gotten better, you know. So if you want to help me out that way, help me out that way. That being said, if any channel posts their link in the description down here, help them out too. Try to support their stuff, especially if you're a small channel. I've been subscribing to any small channel that I can, that I'm aware of. Whenever I did the thing on Dr. Movie's Facebook site, a lot of channels posted there, and I subscribed to every one of them, because I want to help any way I can. It's hard to watch everybody's stuff. I understand that, and I know you guys do too, but at least I can do is help them with the threshold of the subscriptions. Will they make it? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of great channels out there that haven't made it, that were up like me. They were up in like the 700s. You know, you're like your Sids of Dragoons of the world. You know, I mean, she has some fantastic content, is very knowledgeable in video games. She just needs a push, you know. So post your channel down in the description and subscribe to them and help them out as much as you can. I know not everyone's going to make it, but at least we can try. You know, if someone helps you, help them. Pay it forward. I mean, that's the least we can do, especially if someone helps you. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like I said, it may not help, it may. I don't know. I hope it does. but it's the least I can do for those that have helped me. And for the, like I said at the beginning, for those of you that subscribe to me, especially after Brad said something, I mean, it's hard for me to express in words how I felt, you know, at least having that shot. That's going to do it for Reel Rant. Let me know what you guys think about this whole YouTube thing in the description below as well. I'm really curious to everyone's thoughts on this. I know a lot of people have a bunch of thoughts and a bunch of opinions on why they've done this, you know, why it's good, why it's bad. But I'm really curious just to hear what people think about it. And again, you know, from one small creator to a bunch of others, I hope if this is your dream that you're able to do it. If this is your hobby, that you're able to do it. You know, none of us should be shut out from our dreams. You know, will we all make it? No. Unfortunately, no. But we should all have the opportunity. That's going to be it for Reel Rant. Till next time, I'm Gino Reels from The Real Gino. Talk to you later.